to each and every one of you. Missed you guys terribly, but now the studio is all together. Thank you to the owner, Fabian Cox. Anyway, welcome to We the People. We come to you each and every Thursday in the 2 o'clock hour just to remind you that you have power and say so in all levels of government. Malcolm X once said, education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Government and how it works impacts us 24/7, 365, so we have to get smarter about it. I am your host, Angela Taylor, aka A21, and I'm here with my absolute favorite millennial, Michaela McCrae. Y'all see her? Yes, there she go. And we are here. This was the absolute worst time for us to have problems in studio, but we're back now because the election is coming up and there's so much stuff that I'm coming across with people. People just really do not understand how government works. So I'm going to try to give you a little bit of clarity on that. Excuse me, Michaela and I. I'm going to try to give you a little bit of clarity on that. But before we get started, as we shared with you, that we're going to introduce you to, or remind you of, at least two Black-owned businesses a week. And I'm going to smack myself on the hand because Ablazin Radio, where we broadcast from each and every week, is a Black-owned business, and they have a beautiful event space for rent in Beltsville, Maryland, for any special event that you may have. So get your pen and pad out because I want to give you the phone number. It really is a beautiful venue, and it holds about 150, give or take. It has a working kitchen, so you don't have to, you can do it yourself all here, or you can bring in a caterer. But they have all the bells and whistles, and they even have of course, if you want a DJ, that would be extra if you're using an in-house DJ, or bring your own. They have that, they can accommodate all of that here. So again, if you're interested, just set up your tour of the facility, and you can call 240-350-7318. And I'm going to turn the camera over to my favorite millennial, Michaela McCrae, because she's going to give you the second business.
Yes. So the second business today that we have is Horse and Dickey's Seafood that's located in Maryland. So it looks like there's 3 locations. There's one in Glen Arden, Maryland, Wardolph, Maryland, and Camp Springs, Maryland. They are known for their delicious seafood, especially their fried fish and their Southern style side dishes. But for me, the cultural connection that you get inside of this place, this little corner place, definitely for someone just even new to Maryland, was very much
warm and welcoming,
and a little place of home. Especially I'm from the South, and a seafood lover. It was just an incredible experience, and I just advise everyone to stop by, support our Black-owned businesses, because if we don't support us, who will?
There you go. Okay, now, because I know for me, for the past 6 years, I have been trying to share with you guys about us stopping the funding of our own oppression. When we support Black businesses, we are growing ourselves, our entire community. But when we support companies like the Home Depot, like Overstock.com, like Hobby Lobby. Let me see what else I wrote down. Give me a minute, folks. Hobby Lobby, Home Depot, Papa John's, and Exxon Gas. Those are, and I've got a bunch more lists. And again, a lot of times we don't eat because America built itself on the backs of us. And this is, there are a lot of companies who are carried over from slavery, like Chase Bank, because I think they came around in the 1820s. So, those are the kinds of things we have to watch out for. When we can do it, we need to really zero in on that, because economics is what drives America. When you withhold your dollars, you are amassing some power from those folks who are working to oppress you. So you need to be educated on that piece. But I'm moving away from that particular piece. We're finished with the business portion, but I would really like to play a sound bite from the Jimmy Kimmel Show, because again, we've got the election coming up, and I, for one, will never buy Black Americans in mass, because I know we got idiots don't come in a specific color, but we've got, I will not buy that we in mass are supporting the nonsense of what Trump is putting out. A Stevie Wonder can see that Bama he is not playing with a full deck. He is definitely playing with the box. But some of these folks who are supporting him are doing the same thing. And I just want you guys to know, and I hope I hope this audio comes through.
We're trying to get a feel for people where they stand on the issues. Do you believe schools should be teaching critical race theory?
No.
Why not?
I feel like, honestly, it brings about more racism, bringing more issues around that don't need to be.
What is critical race theory for people that don't understand it?
See, I really don't even know. I'm assuming. Can you explain it a little bit to me, honestly?
Yeah. Do you think Americans should ban fracking?
No.
You don't?
No.
Do you feel strongly about fracking?
That's a good question.
Not to drill this point home, but people that are involved in fracking, what are they doing?
I don't know.
Do you think Trump or Harris would be better for the GDP?
Well, Trump's going to be better at anything than her. She can't even speak, let alone look at you. I mean, yeah, she's not good for anything.
In terms of the GDP, do you think she has an understanding of what it is? Do you think she could even define it?
Probably not.
Can you?
No.
Do you think we need to keep socialism out of the government?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. Don't have like Canada. No.
How about Marxism?
Marxism? No.
You don't think we should?
No.
For people that don't understand Marxism, how would you even describe it to them?
Marxism, it's putting a point on somebody that, it's kind of a judgment thing. It's kind of basically, it's a stereotype.
Right. Do you believe the deep state needs to be stopped?
Deep state. Yeah, but how do you do it? Who knows? It's like saying we need to sweep the sand at the beach. I mean,
What is the deep state?
Good question. You know what? I don't know. I've never met them yet. They're real secretive, some bitches.
A lot of people have conflicting feelings about DEI. What's your main takeaway?
I think it's a good thing as long as you don't misuse it. If you misuse it, then I think it's a bad situation.
What does it stand for?
The DEI?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I don't know.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
DEI?
That's debatable. Very debatable.
Very debatable. And what is it for people that don't know?
About the DEI?
Yeah.
I just think it's too corrupted, or at least that's what is projected, is that it's very corrupted.
What is it?
That's a good question.
What is
Oh my goodness.
What is it to me? I mean, it's pretty much the acronym what it stands for, I think.
The DEI? Yeah, then that's what it is.
That's what it is. It is what it is. And it is those three letters.
Yeah.
Y'all please share this video.
DEI?
I think so.
You do?
I think so. I think that we should take control over everything. I mean, Donald Trump needs to rearrange everything.
Including DEI?
Everything.
For people that don't understand what is DEI.
Well, they need to really dig in and find out what it is.
Everybody
You know,
needs to
everybody eats hamburgers, but nobody knows where the meat is coming from. So find out what kind of meat you're eating.
It's cows.
Right.
And that's what the DEI is.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
So anyway.
And this is what we're up against. I turned the camera on you, Michaela, because that's
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I can take it from here. So, first of all, for all of those listening, DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And critical race theory is understanding systemic racism, understanding how race is critical to understanding how America was formulated, and it basically examines the historical and contemporary issues through the lens of race. Students develop a critical thinking skills. They learn questions that dominate narratives and consider multiple perspectives. It allows for a full and true narrative to be presented into modern day education system. Critical race theory is very, and I think where the issue happens when we're talking about critical race theory is that word race. People automatically associate race with non-white people, and what it's not is, and what it does is it informs everyone on all sides of the argument with the information clearly.
Yeah.
From what was just presented. When we do not allow people to think critically about certain topics and subjects that are impactful to our everyday lives, you have people that are able to justify, argue, and perpetuate narratives that are not even conducive to the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
All of the people who just were presented on that recording, it shows that when people do not know, they make a fool of themselves.
Exactly.
And they perpetuate false narratives.
Exactly.
And when communication is not properly syndicated, then people become misinformed and miseducated. And you talk about this quite often. A misinformed and miseducated voting body is the most detrimental thing to us.
To democracy, it absolutely is.
To democracy. And right now, that is the thing that we're fighting against right now. And I think the most disheartening thing about it is people are choosing to be ignorant, because at this point, you cannot even drive down the street without seeing a billboard about what's happening right now in America. Right. And so the veil is being lifted, and
Absolutely.
so you're not even getting the option anymore to be ignorant or to not know. And so that right there lets you know that majority of the people who are voting, or no, I can't even say that, a large amount of people that are voting are ignorant to the facts.
Yeah.
And not only are they ignorant to the facts, they are perpetuating feelings and historically pervasive narratives.
Yeah.
It's in my thesis, y'all. Historically pervasive narratives that are dehumanizing to a group of people, and it's not setting us up for success at all as an American voting body.
It absolutely is not. But here's another thing too. I just listened to all the ignorance that came across there. You know, these people are merely parroting, and I'm going to say Trump's talking points, because they sound as ignorant as he is. And if anybody has even seen him on any of these little platforms that he's invited onto, this man is truly unhinged. And
illiterate.
Yeah, he really is. And it's just very scary that anybody with a brain cell is following him and, trying to perpetuate that narrative. But they're perpetuating it, to my mind, in their own circles. What I would like to just remind folks, that there are websites and media channels that really zero in on one side or the other. And everybody knows that Fox will parrot anything that the Republican says. And we have got to stop. I don't say stop voting or promoting things that are detrimental to our interests as humans, period. My thinking is that these people who are following Trump are devout, racist, and that's it, cut and dry, pure and simple. Because if you have a brain cell and you even listen to anything that he says, the man parrots. I mean, he's a liar. Mm-hmm. And it ain't no whole lot to that. He's a liar and the truth ain't in him.
Yep.
So
I mean, but when your truth is aligned with historically pervasive, with the historically pervasive foundation of America, in a society that has convinced its constituents that we are post the enslavement of people, and that we are post progressive, and that racism is not a contingent factor in the everyday lives of people, and that the pervasive identity of Jim Crow is no longer impacting us, then lies is all that you have, because the truth exposes those narratives.
Yeah.
And that's the part that really gets it. And the part that really gets it for me, though, is there's so many people that are arguing, defending, and perpetuating this narrative that are not even equipped to understand what's actually happening and how this system is really, the system that they are defending is actually impacting them in a very negative way.
Exactly.
Case in point, American society is no longer functioning as a foundational racist society. It is funding now as a caste system that the waters are being murky. Meaning you have people that are on a side that's arguing for this liberation of Republican policies, not realizing that those policies, if they're enacted, are more detrimental to them no matter what their race is or their gender. It has everything to do with your economic foundation. And economics is no longer black and white.
Exactly.
It's the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to get poorer, and the middle class is going to get fucked in its entirety. That's about as clear as I can say it. I mean, and there's policies that are proving this, that, you know, because then the thing that gets me is the sound bites are so astounding. It's and this is how you know that they're just repeating what he says, because what Trump does is the same thing that Hitler did. He used a lot of colorful words, a lot of descriptive adjectives that aren't saying anything. Like, make America great again. Well, when was it great?
Yeah.
And who is it great for?
Exactly.
Number one. Number two, I mean, I can't even...
Actually, the first administration, he actually said, we need to go back to the 1950s.
No.
Exactly.
Because right after the 1950s was the 1960s. And the 1960s is where the last place I want to return to, okay? And that's the thing, when you study history, you see how this repetition of fallacies and this repetition of a divisive environment is going to be it's going to be sustainable. It won't, because
it absolutely will not.
The cards are different, you know. For critical race theory in 2024 to be a part of a conversation of wanting and not wanting, all basically what it is if critical race theory, when critical race theory becomes the foundation of teaching, that means that the United States people will no longer be able to be ignorant and manipulated. So it don't have anything about teaching white people about racism and the enslavement of people. It has everything to do with teaching the truth.
That's what
So
it is.
let it be called critical truth theory at this point. Because the truth is what we need, and without the truth, then we're not able to function properly. Not all of us, but a large majority of people are not able to be function properly, and they're being manipulated and pulled like strings for a dictator to be in office. Because let me tell you something, the intellectuals and the people that are woke are trying to tell y'all, because I promise you they got a plan. They won't be the ones sitting here suffering. And while you're sitting here defending a narrative, please defend it all the way to the end of the line. Because once everything hits the fan and the veil is completely revealed and you see what you have done and you have no choice, because he has said it multiple times, this is the last election, and y'all better believe him. Because you for a former president to say that this is the last election and he believes that he will be the one that is the victor at the end, lets you know that means your rights will be taken away. And so now we're trying to tell you and teach you what your rights are. We're trying to arm you, but if you do not protect them, you will have to start from the very beginning. And let me tell y'all, I know how this story started, and I know how we got where we are today. A lot of y'all won't survive it.
Exactly. Yeah. That being said, because I've been encouraging you guys to have you and your families to look at least 30 minutes of news a day, and not really, and make make it a variety. Don't just stick to Fox News, because Fox News, or Fox, period. Adelson, what's it? Roger, what's his name? Roger.
I don't want some people.
Hey, well, anyway.
Don't get me lying.
Roger Ailes, that's his name.
One of the people
set up he set up a structure that's been hard to penetrate. And I say that because a lot of black folks have told me, oh, I look at Fox News, or I look at Fox and Fox 5, because they had programs on like Empire, like the Queen Latifah, whatever that music show she had that came on right after Empire. And they had,
The Star.
Yeah.
Did you like Star?
I did not.
Oh, I like Star.
Okay.
Well, I like anything Queen Latifah. She really is.
Okay, but what I'm saying is they put a lot of black faces there to lull you in, so you will not change the channel and look at another news station. And that is when they start feeding you the propaganda. Of course, people going to look at the football games and all that stuff, but Roger Ailes set that system up, and we just jumped in it hook, line, and sinker.
That's very funny. You don't know why? Because my generation don't watch TV. We do not. We have
watch your phones.
We have apps that that's how it gets presented to us. Because when I think about like Scandal, I did not sit at a TV and wait for it each week. I waited for it to go onto Netflix or Hulu. So that's an interesting perspective. I like that.
Yeah. But it's the truth. I mean, subliminal messaging is real.
Oh, 100%. Tell live vision.
Yes. Yeah.
But I wanted to present to you something that I watching daily news is important too.
Just to get a perspective get an idea.
However, finding vetted people to present knowledge to you is important, as well as going to read the information from yourself and drawing your own conclusion.
And that's what I was getting ready to talk about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. Oh. No, I'm always going to give you the floor, because you always got something good to say.
But drawing your own conclusions, because certain... like me, there is no political person that I can tell you that I agree with wholeheartedly. Yeah. That I would tell you to go and listen to other than myself. Like, and then I wouldn't want you to hang on every word that I have to say, because I'm a different generation. I'm a different socioeconomic group. I'm a different gender. There's so many differences, so you have to derive your own understanding, and that's what a lot of people are missing out on for this election. And it's really unfortunate that my generation was not properly taught how to circumnavigate through the terrains. I know. It's okay though. It's okay. We're gonna get there. Look, keep hope alive, and I'm part of that hope. Okay. But I wanted to present some research that because a lot of this aligns with my thesis, so I'm spending a lot of time studying this on a daily basis.
But before you move into that, can I
ahead.
give them the news pieces?
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So here we go. And like I said, Fox has lulled black folks to sleep. And they are hard right. They are definitely MAGA supporters. Well, you know that. Or you should if you don't. But if you want a balance, speaking of the right, I went right. Let me go all the way left. MSNBC is hard left. I think Mother Jones is a center because they give you accurate information. But that's under the left-leaning news. But if you want a balanced source, I would recommend Forbes magazine, Market Watch, News Nation, and that's where Cuomo went after CNN let him go. Newsweek, that's one of my Bibles, or at least a chapter. Okay. Reuters, Real Clear Politics, The Hill, and the Wall Street Journal. I think that has a fair balance of both sides. But in my own humble opinion, the right-wing news is crazy. And I'm going to let you go because I want to go next because I want to talk about this Theo Brothers that's going that I found on TikTok.
Well, yeah, this would be a great segue into that.
Okay.
So some some stark
differences.
No, what am I trying to say?
Comparisons.
Some things to be considerate of for this election. That is different from any other elections that we pretty much ever have encountered. The candidates with have presidential records. Both major candidates, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, have served as president or vice president, giving voters a direct comparison of their records. The polling forecasting methods have evolved significantly since 2016, with many institutions refining their techniques to improve accuracy. This election will test these new methods. So the way in which we vote and how voting is
Tabulated.
is getting ready to be something that's unprecedented. So that'd be really interesting to see. Voting methods. The widespread use of early voting and mail-in ballots, which became more prominent during the COVID-19 pandemic, continues to shape how elections are conducted. And why this is impactful is oftentimes a lot of people were, you had voter suppression, which a lot of that voter suppression happened with polling and actual polling, actually going to the polls. But because of COVID, the other avenues outside of being in person have drastically improved, meaning votes that will oftentimes were not considered at this point are ones that are very much going to be the prominent ones, which will be an interesting perspective as well to see. The political climate. The political landscape is highly polarized, with significant debates on issues like the economy, healthcare, climate change. These issues, although they have been important in other elections, the way in which they are the front runner, meaning like a lot of the other elections, there were just not small, but there were just certain topics that each candidate would just stick to. It's not like that. Right. Everything is on the table, which I think is an incredible space to be in, because they won't get to say in 4 years or however many years that, I didn't say that I was going to do this. We have records. We have receipts as the American people. And with the way in which the world is getting ready to go, with what they're presenting as the narrative as solutions, if they are not being honest about them. And I'm talking both sides because, I'm very critical of everybody.
I got you.
So the way that
I'm getting ready to jump on that.
I know. So that's why I said this is getting ready to be a great segue into what you had. And so it's really important for everyone to not hone in onto one specific topic and be selfish with your identity in that and see it from a larger perspective. And the last one is the technological influences. Social media and digital campaigning are more influential than ever before, impacting voters' engagement and information dissemination. And so what that means is the thing that
your generation.
Well, it's the thing that is so exciting to me. This is the first time that I have been able to understand in my research that the conversation of democracy and the state of America is not something that just a small amount of people are talking about. It's front facing. It's in your face.
I love it.
It's intergenerational, and it's just.
It.
That's why I say no matter what happens, I know by the time we get to that point, like, we'll have our feelings about it. But one thing I can say is the fact that people are having the conversation, no matter what side of the conversation
they're talking.
We're talking about something that was always centralized, in my understanding, to a certain type of person. And so I think this is an incredible time, and I just urge everyone to do their research, have value within yourself enough to decide that I'm good with fighting for myself and showing up for the for this election. So
yes, indeed.
I'll send it back to you, alley-oop.
Okay, and here is something that I really want to drive home to anybody with a set of ears. The news media has been promoting the president since Jesus was a baby. The president takes orders from Congress. So when you all have been historically poo-pooing the midterm elections, that's where the power is. As I told you, and I'm going to tell you one more time, the president, and I wrote it down, makes treaties with the approval of the Senate. The president vetoes and signs bills. He represents our nation in talks with foreign countries. He enforces the laws that Congress passes. He acts as commander-in-chief during a war. He calls out troops to protect our nations against an attack, both foreign and domestic. He makes suggestions about things that should be laws. He does not freaking make the laws. He leads his political party. He entertains foreign guests. He recognizes foreign countries. He grants pardons. He nominates cabinet members and Supreme Court justices and other high officials with the approval of the Senate. Okay, he appoints ambassadors. He talks directly to the people about problems. And we've seen Biden do that a gazillion times. And he represents the best interests of all people. That's what a president does. If you want to get into the power brokers in this country, that happens every 2 years when the entire House of Representatives, all 435 members, turns over. They're on the ballot every 2 years because people and demographics change. In the United States Senate, even though they had, by the way, the House of Representatives has locked in 2-year terms, and they can run for them for as many times as they want. In the United States Senate, 1/3 of the Senate is on the ballot every 2 years. They have 6 years, 6-year terms in the United States Senate. So that's where, and they have to collaborate with one another. But let me tell you something, and you take this to the bank, teach your children if you don't teach them nothing else. Everything in this country starts in the people's house, which is the United States House of Representatives. So you vet your folks in your state to see if these folks align with your interests. Send them freaking emails. Call their offices, because every elected official on the Hill has a home base within the state. It's incumbent upon you, because this is a we the people government. So when you sit and tell somebody they are going to do what they want, if they do what they want, that's because you have not done Shatowski. You have not done anything. You have to hold folks accountable. I often hear folks in my generation, because I've got more sand at the bottom of my hourglass than I do at the top, often say the people died so you could vote. What people died for, folks, is so that you could have a voice and a choice. Do not squander it. That being said, I'm move over a little bit more. Please go to www.motherjones, MOTHERJONES.com. And they have some very disturbing videos. Oh, BTW, by the way, when I'm saying folks who fund your oppression, Elon Musk, if you got a Tesla, you killing yourself. And it is that simple, because any Tesla that sold, he's going to get a piece. But anyway, go to motherjones.com, because and look at the Theo brothers, THEO.BROS. They have, Mother Jones did a video there, and they went and talked to these people directly. The candidate for vice president on the Republican side, J.D. Vance. Those folks there, if don't nothing scare you, this better. They want to replace the Constitution, which needs a rewrite in my opinion anyway, but it should not be replaced with the Ten Commandments.
Because that needed a rewrite in my opinion.
And it was 42 commandments after I did my research. But they want to have a religious monarchy, replace our government. They do not believe that women should be in leadership roles anywhere. They will work to repeal the 19th Amendment, which is the women's right to vote. They believe that godly women want to feed their men and take care of the house. No, that's their freaking platform.
I know.
That's in Project 2025, people. Get $1, buy a clue. If you don't do nothing else.
But it's right on time. This is right on time. Keep going.
Okay.
Oh, I can take it.
Okay, go ahead and take it.
All right, this is very much right in line with white supremacy as a religion.
Yes.
When you look at the history of Christianity, it all started such as this. And so the historical roots, white supremacy has deep historical roots in American Christianity. For a century, many white Christians denominations supported and justified slavery, segregation, and other forms of racial discrimination and sexual discrimination. This doctrine, endorsed by the church, justifies the colonization and exploitation of non-European lands and people, reinforcing the idea of white superiority. Biblical interpretations. Some white supremacist groups use selective biblical interpretations to justify their beliefs. For example, they might cite the Curse of Ham narrative that argues for the subjugation of black people. Christian identity movement. This is a racist and anti-Semitic religious ideology that claims white people are the true descendants of the ancient Israelites. It has been used to justify racial purity and segregation. Modern manifestations. White supremacy often manifests in the cultural dominance of white Christian norms and values, marginalizing other racial and cultural expressions of Christianity. The resistance to social justice. Some conservatives, Christian groups resist social justice movements, viewing them as threats to their traditional values. This resistance can sometimes align with white supremacist ideologies that oppose racial equity, racial equality.
Yeah.
Because they don't know nothing about equity. The complementarianism and, I always get this word messed up, egalitarianism.
Egalitarianism.
Look at me go, y'all. The debate over gender roles can intersect with racial issues,
Yes.
as traditionalists views often uphold patriarchal and racial exclusive structures. The biblical irony, the instances on a literal interpretation of the Bible can sometimes be used to support racist ideologies, as certain passages are interpreted in ways that justify racial hierarchy.
Exactly.
The criticism. Many theologians and Christian leaders criticize the alignment of white supremacy with Christianity, arguing that it distorts the core message of the gospel, which is about love, justice, and equality. There is a growing movement within Christianity to confront and dismantle these racist ideologies. However, without channeling the pervasive foundation of white supremacy as a religion, we will never be able to escape the parameters of Christianity in society today.
And that's why we gotta push back. We gotta tell the truth. My turn.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, because one thing I want you just kind of drive home, because you see the misinformation has gone up exponentially since Obama left office. And a lot of people say, I don't know who to believe. I don't know what to believe. Here's what I will tell you. To tell a lie is not a crime. Read the Constitution, read your Bill of Rights. That first one, freedom of speech. You can say what you want, no matter how vile and disgusting it might be. You can do that. Okay? That being said, thing one. Thing number two, even on media, because that is the way a lot of people get their news. And Michaela was just talking about it. Y'all don't look at TV. Y'all get your information from social media. I don't care where you are. If you are not in a court of law, you can lie all you want, and you are protected under the First Amendment. So you really have to, when they say reading is fundamental, get $1, buy a clue, read. Because the information is out there. But we have gotten so lazy and so apathetic that we think that having discussions around our kitchen table is going to solve a problem. As I have told you consistently, and will continue to beat that drum until I can't beat it no more. When you vote, if you vote on Tuesday and that person gets in office on Wednesday, on Thursday, you should have their telephone number and their email address in your phone. Everybody got a phone. And when you see something that you don't like, I don't care if it's too much trash in your community, you pick up the phone and you make the call. Or you go to your computer, type an email. Let that elected official know that you are watching, that you are paying attention to your community. And you can also ask them questions, what are you going to do for me and my community, or for my community? You got to start asking those questions. Give folks 90 days to respond, because cycles change every 90 days, or can change in every 90 days. And follow up and follow through. Get your neighbors to do the same. And I know social media has kind of alienated far too many people from personal, interpersonal relationships. But you got to develop those. You got to talk to people. It's kind of, social media has desensitized too many of us. That's why these shootings and all of that stuff, it's par for the course. But keep in mind, these shootings are happening because there is no law on the books at the federal level that you get ready to send a president, House of Representative folks, and the Senate, elect senators to. That can happen. But you got to put the right people in place to represent your interests. That can happen. but it's on us, because ain't nobody gonna save us but us. So we got to wake up and pay attention. Okay, one last thing, because we getting close to closing time. I need to talk about Maryland. And I need to talk about Maryland because many of you have heard me talk about Angela Alsobrooks. Not a fan of hers as county executive, but at the federal level, for those folks who are making rules for the entire country, we need that number in the United States Senate. Now, I've been getting notices on my phone, commercials after soap operas, which I guess they think a lot of housewives and retired people just look at, and just commercials, inundated with commercials about also Brooks and her DC real estate. DC, and only because I have a sister who pays attention to everything. When cause she lives in DC, she has a house in DC. But I had a brother who died who gave her his house, willed her his house. The homestead exemption, the tax, is only on your primary residence. Most people don't read the law. In DC, when she paid the taxes on that second house, they sent her money back. No, you don't owe this money because you're eligible for the homestead exemption. The freaking government under Fenty and I can't think of bow tie, Tony somebody or another, they didn't know. So years later, you're coming after folks for money that you told them they were eligible for. But the law in DC was written otherwise. Now, if you have a challenge with something the government has instituted and you call the agency and the agency says, hey, no, you, citizen, don't have it right. We have it right. And you find out 5, 10, 15 years later, in my sister's case, that they didn't have it right. That's not their fault. It galls me when I see, and again, not a fan, but I'm going to vote for her because I know how important that number in the United States Senate is. But it galls me, Larry Hogan, that you, as governor, promoted concealed carry right after a mass shooting. And we're going to allow folks at the age of 18 to do that. You, Larry Hogan, cut the funding for abortion, come on, access. What do you call that? Help me out.
Healthcare?
Come on now. Give me a minute, folks. I'm just trying to think of measures to expand abortion services. That's what I was trying to think of in the state, and also establish a statewide paid family leave program. You vetoed that, and you get your daughters on TV to say, "Oh no, he didn't." I pay attention, sucker. You did it. And what I know, like I know my name, you can say anything right now. Do it until the cows come home. But if you get in, you're going to toe that Republican line just like Ted Cruz did after Trump disparaged and embarrassed his entire family, just like Lindsey Graham did, and just like any number of those United States senators did, like Mitch McConnell did. You can't do that if you live in the state of Maryland. And if you are ignorant about politics, just go down and vote blue. Vote Democrat all the way down, if that's what you want to do. Oh, excuse me. If you don't know, that's what you need to do. And I never have said that before, but we have got to get this election right. We have got to get people in there who are not going to take your choice away. Them Bammers on Trump's side said that's what they're going to do. They telling you that's what they're going to do. And it galls me when I speak to people, particularly people in your age group, and you didn't get the stimulus because you told me that the other day. But I'm going to vote for him because he gave me stimulus. He gave me $1,200. No, he did not. He signed the checks because he asked. That's a courtesy you can give the president. But no, the United States House of Representatives, under Nancy Pelosi's leadership, got you that money. The Democrats got you that money. And granted, it wasn't no whole lot, no big thing. I mean, $1,200 is not even rent in most places. But I'm saying that to say, you saw his name on a check, oh boy, and that's what you know. You got to learn about what makes this country roll. And government and how it works is something that you need to know. Notice how, when I was in school, civics and government were mandatory. It's not mandatory anymore, and many schools don't even teach it. I'm glad that my grandsons are at Bowie High School because they are teaching it, but too many schools are not. And when you don't know, you just get your information from your girlfriend or boyfriend or off of social media, and you flying by the seat of your pants. You killing us. You got to get informed. You have to get informed. So that being said, early voting starts in the state of Maryland on October 24th. I think that's next Wednesday, right?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday? That's the 25th.
No, next Thursday is 24th.
It is. What's next? Yep, you're right. And if you want to in-person early vote, you can go to, right here on the paper. From October 24th to October 31st, from 7 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening, every day, including Sunday. Stop by after church, whatever. It says the best time to vote during early voting is on Saturday and Sunday. But I don't care. Get there and vote. You can vote at any early voting center in your jurisdiction. In Bowie, it's the Bowie Gymnasium at 4100 Northview Drive. In College Park, it's the College Park Community Center at 5051 Pierce Avenue. In Hyattsville, it's the Kentland Community Center at 2413 Pinebrook Avenue. In Laurel, at the Laurel Beltsville Senior Activity Center at 7120 Conti Road. In Accokeek, it's the Life Covenant Christian Ministries at 15522 Livingston Road. In Chilham, it's the Rolling Crest Chilham Community Center at 6120 Sergeant Road. In Brandywine, the Southern Area Aquatic and Recreation Complex at 13601 Missouri Avenue. In Fort Washington, it's the Southern Regional Technology and Recreation Center at 7007 Bach Road. In Forestville, the Suitland Community Park School Center at 5600 Regency Lane. In Upper Marlboro, the Upper Marlboro Community Center at 5400 Marlboro Racetrack Road. And last but certainly not least, at the Wayne Curry Sports and Learning Center Complex at 8001 Sheriff Road in Landover, Maryland. And before I switch it back over to you, because it's getting ready to come, for those of you who are getting memos from the Forward Democrats, it makes absolutely no sense to support Kamala Harris for president and to support Larry Hogan as the senator. I say that because, as I said earlier, the power base is the House of Representatives and the Senate. Why would you elect somebody who has your interests, or at least can, well, who has your the people's interests at heart, and then put somebody in there who is going to cut her legs out from under her? That makes absolutely no sense. You vote for him, you're setting her up for failure. Don't freaking do it. So with that, I'm going to turn the mic back over to my favorite millennial, because we're out at 3, so hold tight.
Awesome. Thank you, Miss Angela. Great show today. Before we close today, just know that there's a lot of value in our broadcast. Please go to youtube.com/@AngelaTaylor4119 and hit the live tab, like and subscribe. Make it a point to take time to review the broadcast, share with your friends, because no one is going to save us but us. So with that being said, we want you to count your blessings instead of your crosses, count your gains instead of your losses, count your joys instead of your woes, count your friends instead of your foes, count your smile instead of your tears, count your courage instead of your fears, count your full years instead of your lean, count your kind deeds instead of your mean, count your health instead of your wealth, and by all means count on God instead of yourself. We have 18 days, 9 hours, 57 minutes, and 56 seconds to the next election. I'm M Squared.
And I'm A21 with one last PS. We have school board people on the ballot too, especially in Maryland. I've talked about that before, and I'm going to talk a little more about it next week. But in District 4, Shayla Adams Stafford is running unopposed. If you want to write a name down, you can write mine in, because I don't want to vote for a crook. I'm going to write myself in. And in District 5, you want to vote for Miss Brown. Robin Brown. She has a vested interest, as do I, because she has children in school. I have grandchildren in school. And somebody who has a stake, who is a stakeholder, is always going to do a little bit better for you. So with that, at We the People, we believe that there is good in the world. And we challenge each and every listener to go out there and be the good in your community. This is A21. I'm out.